The phone vibrated once on the kitchen counter. Not a call, a message. My keys and ATM no longer works? I watched the screen glow, then dim. The refrigerator hummed. The house held its breath. Outside, a siren passed and kept going like it knew better than to stop here. I didn't answer. I poured coffee I wouldn't drink. I stood where her heels usually waited by the door, empty. The air still smelled like her, clean citrus and ambition. That smell used to mean something. Now it felt like evidence. A week earlier, I had asked her a question I'd rehearsed in my head as a joke, casual, harmless. "So," I'd said, leaning against the island, "when's your law school graduation party?" She smiled without blinking. "Oh, it already happened yesterday," she said. "Just close people were invited." Close people. I nodded like that made sense, like I wasn't her husband, like I hadn't sat through 3 years of cold dinners and late nights and tuition statements. Like the space beside her in every victory photo wasn't supposed to be me. The phone buzzed again. "Hello?" I set it face down. There is a moment when your life splits. Not loudly, not with a scream. It slips, quiet and precise like a scalpel. You don't bleed right away, you just feel colder. That was the moment. I didn't accuse her, I didn't ask follow-ups. I learned early that truth hates pressure. It reveals itself when it thinks it's safe. That night she came home smiling, talking too fast, her words stacked like alibis. She kissed my cheek and asked about my day without waiting for the answer. Her eyes slid past mine, searching the room, counting what was still hers. I listened. She said names I didn't recognize, professors, classmates, a firm downtown. She mentioned a toast she couldn't quite remember, laughter that sounded rehearsed. She never said, "You should have been there." I nodded again. That was becoming my specialty. In bed, she turned away from me, not dramatically, just enough. Her phone lit up once under the covers, then went dark. She didn't check it. She didn't have to. I lay there cataloging the small things I had ignored, the password changes, the sudden interest in privacy, the way she'd started saying "my future" instead of "ours." This wasn't a single betrayal, it was architecture, planned, reinforced, beautiful in its cruelty. The next morning I opened our shared calendar. The graduation date was marked, 3 weeks ago. No party, no dinner, no note. I searched her email on the home computer. Buried between student loan offers and alumni newsletters was an invitation thread, a rooftop, photos attached, her in white, her hand on a man's arm I had never seen. Close people. I closed the browser and washed my hands. They shook anyway. I became careful, careful with my voice, careful with my face, careful with my love. I didn't follow her. I didn't need to. Patterns are louder than footsteps. I pulled phone records under the guise of a billing error. A number appeared again and again, clustered late at night, early mornings. I didn't call it, I memorized it. I watched her rehearse lies in the mirror, practiced smiles, practiced exhaustion. I watched her pack clothes that never returned to the closet. I watched her bank transfers shift, small at first, then confident. She trusted the distance she had created. She mistook silence for ignorance. I met with a lawyer of my own, not to scream, to understand. I learned how quietly a life can be disassembled when both names are on everything. I requested copies, accounts, titles, access logs. I changed nothing yet. I let the rope extend. At dinner, she talked about a job offer she hadn't accepted. Her eyes shone with a future that didn't include me. I asked questions that sounded supportive. I took notes in my head. At night, I dreamed of locked doors and empty rooms. I woke calm. The truth arrived in layers. Photos confirmed the man's name. The firm confirmed the offer. His firm. The timeline aligned like teeth. The graduation party hadn't been small. It had been selective. The envelope was thin. That's how these things come. Never dramatic, always precise. I waited until Sunday morning. Coffee brewed, sunlight honest and cruel. I placed the folder on the table between us. "What's this?" she asked. "Open it." She did, slowly. Her face moved through denial like a sequence of doors closing. The photos, the bank statements, the email thread printed and highlighted, her words circled in red like a teacher correcting a child. She laughed once. It cracked. "You went through my things." "I read the truth," I said. Her hands trembled. Her mouth opened, closed. She reached for the folder like it might explain itself differently if she touched it again. "It's not what it looks like," she said. I watched her carefully, not angry, curious. "It's exactly what it looks like," I said. "You chose close people." She sank into the chair. Tears came late, theatrical. Apologies queued up but never delivered. She waited for me to rescue her from the consequences. I didn't move. The phone rang. Her name filled the screen. Present tense. Desperate. "My keys and ATM no longer works." I smiled, just a little. "Didn't I mention," I said, "I closed what wasn't mine anymore?" Silence. Then breath. Then a sound like something breaking that had been under strain for a long time. "You can't do that." "I already did." I explained it calmly, how joint accounts dissolve, how access changes, how leases end, how doors stop opening when you stop belonging. She cried, she pleaded, she threatened, she tried love like a weapon she'd misplaced. I listened. "You knew," she said finally. "I learned," I corrected, quietly. I hung up. By the time she got home, the house was lighter. My things were gone. The walls looked relieved. I don't hate her. Hate requires heat. I feel none. What I feel is clarity, the kind that comes after the storm when everything unnecessary has been washed away. I didn't win. I didn't lose. I stepped out of a story that was never written for me. Some people confuse access with love. Some confuse secrecy with power. She confused my patience for permission. The house sold. The accounts settled. Her name faded from my days like a bruise healing in stages. Sometimes I think about the party, the rooftop, the laughter. Close people raising glasses while I sat at home believing in something that didn't exist. Then I think about the message, the confusion, the locked doors. Balance restored. I didn't take revenge. I took my life back, and I left her with the truth, which is always the cruelest ending.